Hi, my name's Matt and I'd like to welcome you to this Zinniac video on targeting markets, part of the Explore step of the ITIL specialist course, Drive Stakeholder Value. To build a brand and attract target customers, internal and external service providers should invest in marketing. A value proposition is an explicit promise made by a service provider to its customers that will deliver a particular bundle of benefits. And it's important we understand what our value proposition is, because it's a quick way to differentiate your service or product. So what is the value proposition? So for us, for this course, certainly one of the things I'm really focused on for Zinniac is low cost. We aim to be the lowest cost service provider because our target market basically is individuals buying courses for themselves, or we do courses for corporate companies, but quite frankly we don't have the marketing budget to reach them. So I have reached them and we have done some big courses for some major companies, but generally speaking we're targeting individuals, and I know they're very cost conscious, and that's why we provide online courses. So these online courses, hopefully good quality, definitely cover the entire syllabus and everything you need to know for the exam, but also a good value. But you need to understand what that value proposition is. So are you the cheapest, or are you the most secure, or are you the most flexible, the most agile? What is it? What is your value proposition? So we tailor to target customers by addressing their needs, how the product or service can solve their problems, what they can expect if they obtain the product or service, the advantages of doing business with the company over its competitors. A well-written value proposition is one of the most important elements of marketing. So you've got to know what it is you're selling before you market it. If you don't know, you can't expect your customers to know. So this is something I think it's very worthwhile remembering for the exam. I think it's very likely to come up in the exam, simply because you can imagine it's easy to write an exam question around this. So the difference between the marketplace and the market space. And as service providers, we need to explore different channels in order to reach customers, and the two high-level channels are the marketplace and the market space. And the marketplace is the physical world, and the market space is the virtual world. And again, for Zinniac, in terms of our marketing and trying to reach our customers, the vast majority of our marketing is in the market space. It's virtual, it's online, it's social media, it's YouTube, it's LinkedIn. It's basically trying to have a presence on the internet so that you can find us, so that you can find your way to Zinniac, that you know we exist. In terms of the marketplace, in terms of the physical world, we do exist in the physical world. We have a registered office, we have a postal address where you can write to us. We have a free phone number so you can call us. So we do have some presence in the physical world, but not a lot. We don't have stores on high streets and so on. And I think over time what we've seen maybe recently is more organisations moving into the market space, into that virtual world, and away from the marketplace. But some organisations do obviously still exist in that marketplace. Partly there's obviously the organisations that only provide products or services in the marketplace, but others that work in the market space may market in the marketplace as well, just because that works for them. We're now going to look at personalization and profiling. So profiling is, in simple terms, it's creating personas, which we've talked about before. So it's a method of tracking service consumer behavior in order to understand consumers' needs and to enable targeted marketing campaigns. So it's creating profiles or personas of different people, and then we can target those different people. And again, for Zinniac, one of the key differences: are you interested in ITIL, or are you interested in Prince 2, or are you interested in something else? And so based on topic, but there's others. Personalizing is about knowing what range of service offerings the customer is most likely to want to obtain and presenting those specific offers to the customer. And if you use Amazon, you'll know they try and do this a lot. So you go on, you go onto Amazon on the app or the website, and you go on, and it brings up. So you might be interested in this based on what you bought before. You might, based on what you've been looking at, you might be interested in these things. They're trying to personalize what they show you. Obviously, the social media companies try to do that with their advertising, showing you advertising of things that you might be interested in. Remarketing is very much based on that, and so if you in some way either explicitly or implicitly express an interest in a product or service, you will be bombarded, as it were, with adverts for that product or service of you might be interested in. So we're just going to keep hitting you with ads. So it's worthwhile, again, being aware of that as a consumer, but understanding how you can use that as a provider. Yeah, so with an accumulation of personal information about customers and users, it is important to protect the privacy of individuals by asking for consent. And certainly, if you are doing business, if you want to do business with citizens of the European Union, and there's over 400 million of them, so you probably do, then you need to comply with GDPR. So it's not people, GDPR. It's not particularly onerous. It's basically about asking permission and looking after the data are the two key things. And obviously other countries have legislation as well, but pretty much with the slight exception of food restrictions or regulations, if you comply with EU regulations, you'll comply with everyone else's, because in almost all instances, EU regulations are stricter than everyone else's, with the exception of a few food things like unpasteurized cheese and stuff. But other than that, if you follow EU regulations, you're kind of good for most of the world. Targeted marketing. Marketing works best when the message is tailored to a specific group of people or personas, as I mentioned, and their needs and desires. So rather than trying to have a generic message to everyone, trying to have specific messages to individuals. AIDA can be used, so another acronym, AIDA can be used to formulate the message. So AIDA stands for Awareness, Interest, Desire and Action, and it improves the chances of reaching the target audience. So we raise the customer's awareness, stimulate their interest and desire, and trigger actions. And again, obviously for Zinniac, do a lot of work marketing, trying to raise awareness. So just so people know who we are and what we do. So we're a training company and we provide ITIL training, and it's really good value. So we're trying to raise awareness so as many people as possible know about it. So if they have a need for ITIL training, they will at least consider us. Hopefully that raises their interest, and we share free videos and other things in order to raise that interest and maybe desiring people to get certified, so not just know about ITIL, but to get certified in ITIL in order to help advance their career, to increase their personal capital and advance their career, and obviously ultimately take the action of buying a training course from us. And whatever your products or services, you can follow the same funnel. Brand and reputation are important. A brand is a combination of someone's perception of an organisation and its products and services in the market. And obviously some organisation, Apple springs to mind immediately, that Apple has a very strong brand in the market. And so some people are kind of a little bit against it, but many people see it as a desirable brand to own. And there's many many brands that go on like that. So BMW, Mercedes, a lot of the high-end car companies, or those types of organisations can have a strong brand. Developing a good relationship with the target market is an essential part of influencing a brand. A brand is built iteratively and is reflected in the way people speak about the organisation and its people's products and services. One thing I would add to this, that it's not on the slide, it's not part of ITIL, but an advertising company a few years ago when I was working with advertising companies more closely, they came up with this idea of a love mark. So the idea of that was that you kind of have brands, and some brands have brand loyalty, and certainly Apple and others, BMW or IBM maybe, in the past Sony certainly used to have it, that brand loyalty of where people would buy a particular brand, and because they were happy with it, they would buy more of it and more things. I just then looked at a Samsung TV that I'm using as my main monitor, and certainly all our TVs are Samsung now. We have some other Samsung products, so we've certainly got some brand loyalty to Samsung in terms of electronics. But Lovemark goes beyond that. So the idea with Lovemark is really, certainly you may have heard the term fanboy or fangirl, I suppose, as well, which is often attributed to Apple, or you quite often get it in the Xbox, PS, whatever, onto Sony PlayStation market. There are some people prefer one over the other, and it's like, yeah, I think I prefer this, and that's what I've got. But some people are really fans of, no, my product's the best, it's the greatest, it's wonderful, and the other ones, the work of the devil, it's terrible. And they're beyond, they're advocates of it. They don't work for the organisation, but they just really promote it, and that's the idea of a love mark. Really, is where you get those advocates for your brand, where they will tell other people. So I certainly hope you enjoy our courses, and I hope you continue with us, and do high velocity IT and direct plan improve with us, and get all the way to managing professional with us. And I would like it if you do to share that you think we offer good courses and good value. I don't know if I can expect any of you to become advocates, to become fanboys or fangirls, but I mean, if you do, great. But yeah, that's kind of the ultimate goal, really, if you can get to that level. Sustainability and the triple bottom line. So the triple bottom line came about really because some organisation, or many organisations, were just focused on the bottom line, on the finances, on driving stakeholder value, increasing stakeholder value, and that could and can lead organisations to be very short term in their view. So Elkington, 1994, certainly created the idea of the triple bottom line. There's a number of people around talking about similar things, where rather than just looking at financial aspects, we also look at social and environmental, and really trying to shift organisations, and particularly CEOs, the people who run organisations, from just focusing on those short-term goals to more long-term goals, and having a more holistic view of performance and success. And sustainability is certainly a key part of that. So it's an area that impacts brand and reputation. As I said, I'm looking at my iPhone, and as I'm recording this video, Apple have just recently announced the iPhone 12. And at that announcement, one of the changes they've made is they no longer include a charging brick, a plug, with the phone. And there's kind of two justifications they give for that. Is one, everyone's got one, or many people have got several. And the other justification is that it's a waste. So if you've already got several, that shipping out a brick in with every phone is an unnecessary waste. So they're still shipping out wires, and I think wires are a bit more, they're less durable. Yeah, so people quite often replace wires. Yeah, whereas the bricks maybe last a little bit longer. Obviously, it's saving money for them as well, but there is that element of not less waste, and they can have less packaging. If they have less packaging, it's less weight. So when they're shipping them from China where they're made, it costs less money. So it all adds up. And certainly one of the things I think we'll see over time actually is a greater focus on that sustainability, a greater focus on reducing waste. And actually I expect manufacturing to move back closer to the consumer. So obviously as I record this in 2020, an awful lot of manufacturing, an awful lot of products are manufactured in China and maybe the Far East for use, for consumption in Europe and the US. But I expect more manufacturing will move back closer because it will reduce waste. So we can do more just-in-time manufacturing, as they do with automobiles. So if I'm about to replace my car, so if I order my new car, it will be it'll be built for me. So it won't be an existing car. I'll order a new car and they'll build it for me and ship it to me. So the shorter that distance is, the less waste there is, rather than, and if you go in a clothes shop, it always amazes me when I go into a retail clothes shop at just the number of clothes and the amount of waste. Because they're not selling all those clothes. They've got them in multiple sizes, multiple colours, and the waste means I'm paying for that waste. So when I buy a shirt, when I bought this shirt, I wasn't really just paying for this shirt. Aside from the fact that I was paying for the marketing of this shirt, I was probably paying for 4 shirts because they produced 4 shirts in 4 different colours or sizes that the other 3 I didn't buy, but they felt they needed to produce them to give me the choice. Obviously, that's less applicable for IT. IT is less wasteful in other ways, maybe, but less wasteful in those ways. But sustainability, the development that meets the needs of the present generations without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. We need to remember the importance of existing customers. Keeping existing customers happy is as important as attracting new customers, and it's also is important for attracting new customers. And clearly, as I said, if you're happy as a customer of Zindiac, you are more likely to go out and tell friends, colleagues, connections that we exist and that we're good and they can trust us and they should buy training courses from us. So the 3 reasons are cost, resale, and brand. So new customers are more difficult, time-consuming, and expensive to reach. So it's easier to sell to existing customers. We exist, our value proposition. Happy customers are more likely to obtain new services, and happy customers may recommend services to other consumers. As soon as stakeholders understand the opportunities for co-creating value, they are ready to establish a good service relationship. And remember, the customer journey often begins before the service provider and service consumer have established a relationship. So undoubtedly, or almost certainly, you were looking for ITIL training before you found Zindiac. You didn't find Zindiac and then think, oh, yeah, maybe I will get. Maybe you did, I don't know. Maybe you did find us and then decide to do ITIL training, but you were probably aware of ITIL and thinking about ITIL training and wanting ITIL training and certification before you found us. So that journey had begun before we established the relationship. Right, so that brings us to the end of this video on targeting markets and also the end of the explore step of the customer journey. I do hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Please join me in the next video on the course. Until you do, have a great day.